In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to use images in Teleport. I prepared here a card. My card has a background shadow, and it has a child container that I named Content, with a heading and a paragraph. Now, what we want to do is add an image on top of that content in order to make our card look nicer. In order to do that, I'm going to select the Assets Manager. I'm going to look for Mountain Images. And before clicking on this icon to add the image in the design canvas, I'm going to select the node in which I want my image to be added. So I selected my card container here. I'm going back into the Assets Manager, and I'm clicking on this button. And my image has been added as the last child of the container. You can see it here. The card, which I previously selected, and the image that has been just added. Now, let's move the image on top of the content. Great. By default, in Teleport, when an image is added into the canvas, it will receive a 200 pixels width, but this is not really fitting our design. So I'm going to set that to 100%. This is great, but we have a proportions issue, and I can manage this by using the ratio property here, and I'm going to set it to 16/9. Or if I would like a square, it can be 1/1 or 4/3. You can choose the proportions that best fit your design. Let's stay with 16/9. And what is nice with this option is that for every screen, the image keeps now the same proportions. So this is really a nice feature. Finally, I'm going to just set the alt value for my image so that the search engines would know what the image is about. Changing images in Teleport is really easy. Select the image you want to change, select your Assets Manager, and click on the new image. That's all. In Teleport, you can also upload your own images. Select the Uploads tab, open the folder on your computer which has the image, drag and drop it on the left column, and as soon as the icon appears here, you can hover it with your mouse to have a preview. And if you want to use it in the design canvas, just click on the Replace Asset button. That's all. In some cases, you might want to use images as backgrounds. This is going to be very helpful if you want to add some texts on top of them. So let's do this together. I'm going to delete my normal image. I'm going to add a new container in my card. I just hit my C key on the keyboard. My container has a default width of 200 pixels, but I'm going to set it to 100%. I'm going to set the ratio as previously to 16/9, and I'm going to remove here the 100 pixels fixed height and set it to auto. Now I have the same proportions as before. I'm going to move my container on top of the content, and finally I'm going to go here to the background section. I'm going to choose image, going to click on this icon that opens the option panel, and I'm going to click on this icon that opens the Assets Manager. Finally, I'm going to replace the image, and one more thing, I'm going to center it. Okay, so now if you look into your left inspector, you will see that despite the fact that we have the same appearance, this time the image is rendered as a container, not an image tag. So now I can add a text. I'm hitting my T key on the keyboard, and I'm going to make this text more visible by setting the color to white. I'm going to make it a bit bigger, and I'm going to also center it like this. I'm going to place it at the bottom of my container. I think some padding would be nice as well. I'm going to set that to 32 pixels or 2 units, and I can edit my text now. And I'm going to set sunset over Transylvania. Okay, so with this technique, when you use an image as a background, you can now add other items in the container, such as this text, and have a nice array of options in terms of design. In the previous section of our tutorial, we've learned how to use images as backgrounds. Now we're going to learn a more advanced technique which will unleash your creativity. I'm going to select the container which has my image background, and I'm going to add a new layer, a gradient background. By default, this background is completely opaque, but I'm going to change that. First of all, I'm going to change the direction, like this. Then I'm going to select the start of the gradient, and I'm going to set it to 0, so it is fully transparent on top. And I'm going to choose a colder color, maybe here on the bottom. I'm going to give it a dark blue. And finally, I'm going to play with the beginning of the gradient in order to have the original image on top, but to have a strong shadow at the bottom. And now I've added 2 layers, which are one on top of each other, and because of the transparency of my gradient, I can have this very nice effect where the previous image is completely visible on the top, but I have a very good contrast on the bottom. And if you want to compare the difference between them, you can add the original image on top. This is how it looks without the gradient background. And this is how it looks with my new design touch. Finally, I would like to share with you a very fun feature of our platform, which is the AI generation of images. So let's do that together. I'm going to select my previously uploaded image. I'm going to ask for a new AI generation. And here I'm going to use my image as a reference, but I want to make changes to it. So I'm going to ask to remove the sun and clouds. And I would like to have a bright sky full of stars. Let's see what we get. Okay, that looks really nice. I like this image. So I'm going to close this model for now, and in my AI generated folder, I have my new image. So I'm going to select my container, and I'm going to change the background image, and I'm going to use our last generation. And I think this is looking great. I'm going just to change the title. That's going to become Night Sky over Transylvania. There we are. Thank you for watching.